Ever been in an exam or even a casual debate and felt like you just couldn't make your point clear enough? The secret is mastering comparison contrast in your speaking or writing. In this video, I'll walk you through how to use comparison and contrast to ace your IELTS, write stronger essays, and speak more persuasively. Stick with me until the end because I'll also share a proven template you can use for any topic. Before we jump into techniques, let's warm up with a real example. Take a look at this question. What are the similarities and differences between education 50 years ago and education today? Think about it. The technology, the way teachers taught, the subjects covered, and even the role of the student. Got a few ideas? Great. Because in a moment, I'll show you how to turn thoughts like these into strong, structured comparison-contrast paragraphs. Analyzing the model. Before we start, I want to show you a writing model from the Longman Academic Writing Series. Think of it like looking at a finished puzzle before you start putting the pieces together. A model helps you see the structure where the introduction, body, and conclusion go, understand transitions, how ideas are connected smoothly, notice academic style, the vocabulary, tone, and sentence pattern that make your writing sound professional. By studying a good model first, you're not guessing what's expected. You are learning from a clear example. Then, when you write your own paragraph, you can adapt the structure to your ideas. This writing model is on page 172 of Longman Academic Writing, Book 3. Changes in education for the 21st century. To understand 21st century education, let's examine the similarities and differences between the schools of 50 years ago and the schools of today. First, we should look at what the students studied then and now. In the mid-20th century, students studied the basics: reading, writing, math, and science. In the 21st century, students continue to study these traditional academic subjects. However, in addition, they learn a wide array of computer skills and the 4 C's: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. Next, let's examine similarities and differences in past and current methods of teaching and learning. In the past, students obtained knowledge mostly from teachers and required textbooks. Today, they still learn through the guidance of teachers and by reading course texts, but the web has become a major source of learning. In addition to face-to-face courses, students often take classes and do research online. Unlike students in the 20th century, today's students may also design their own self-directed topics of study based on their interests and real-world experiences. Finally, we need to examine the purpose of education in the 1950s and the 1960s in contrast to today. In 20th century schools, one of the main goals was to help students obtain a highly paid job. In the 21st century, the goal is the same. However, 50 years ago, economies were local. Schools educated workers who tended to stay in one place and remain with one employer for long periods of time, even for their entire work life. In contrast, workers in the 21st century are part of a fast-paced global economy. Employees need to be able to adapt quickly and move from job to job. Therefore, schools must prepare students to be adaptable and continue learning throughout their careers. In summary, education in the 21st century is firmly rooted in the basics of traditional education from the 1950s and 1960s. However, modern education was expanded: what the students learn, how they learn it, and why. So, questions about the model. What is the topic? What is the controlling idea? Well, if you look here, this one is the topic. To understand the 21st century, let's examine the similarities and differences between the schools 15 years ago and the schools of today. Now, I want you to determine the topic and then the controlling idea. What is our topic? Our topic is changes in education. Here. Changes in education. This is our topic. So, what is the controlling idea? Well, the controlling idea means when we pick a topic and we want to narrow down the scope so we can write about it. We can write a book about education, even a PhD thesis. But simply, we're going to talk about similarities and differences between the schools, only schools, not universities, from 50 years ago and today. So it is a comparison. And you can see here the response. Now, identify the 3 main points of the paragraph and provide the type of information the writer presents to support each of it. Well, the first thing was the areas of study, like basics, like reading, writing, math, and science. But in the 21st century, we also continue those topics, traditional topics, but we learn new things, a wide array of skills like computer skills, and also the 4 C's like critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. So the author is comparing and also giving us examples and defining the scope, explaining it more. The other point is the purpose of education, for example. What was the purpose of education? Well, the purpose was, the goal is the same, which was, the main goal was to help students obtain a highly paid job. And the goal is the same, so it is a similarity. And then it describes a bit of differences. For example, in the past, a school's educated worker tended, it's a past form, for long periods of time, even for their entire work lives. Now, or for example, the works were local. Now, it is in contrast, we are global. So it is fast-paced and we change our jobs more quickly. So we need to adapt quickly. The other thing that the author discussed was also methods of teaching and learning. In the past, as you can see here, let me find it, reading course texts, teacher guidance, they're very important. We had them in the past, required teachers and required textbooks. But now we have one additional thing. We have web as well. We have the internet as a major source of learning. So I hope I articulated clearly what did I mean. Now, let's talk about conclusions. What is the concluding sentence here? Well, let me show you. Here, we have in summary. Look at this, in summary. So it is a concluding signal. And we also have an additional concluding sentence here. So both 19 and 20 are our concluding signals. Concluding sentences. Now, let's talk about transition signals, which are very important. Here we have first, we have also next, and here we have finally. These are time order signals. These tell us whether what we are doing is chronologically related together, We also have other ones. We have the same. We have however. We have in contrast. So the red ones tell us differences. The green one tell us similarities. I hope that I made myself clear. So, there are other examples. For example, here we have in the past, And then we'd probably say, here we have unlike students in the 21st century. The unlike here, sorry, let me make it better. It says difference. So by signals or transition signals, I mean these. Now let's talk about antonyms. You know, antonyms are very important. In chapter 4, we discussed about synonyms and the minute differences in the meaning of synonyms. And it was very, very important, of course. Why? Because it expanded our vocabulary and we can express ourselves more precisely, more concisely. Antonyms, when we are comparing and especially when we're contrasting, like black and white, it helps us to expand the meaning and give it to the reader. Now let's solve some of these questions. So we have mostly, we have wide, the antonym would be narrow. So we are doing antonyms. So we have wide, then we have narrow. We have, for example, traditional, then we have modern. We have local, then we have global. Oh my God, sorry. Local, and then we have local, and then we have global. Sorry for my misclicks, I'm sorry. So here we have adaptable, unchanging, inflexible, continue. Well, continue could also mean end, cease, final. You can check the thesaurus of your dictionary and it will be really helpful. Real can be unreal, imaginary. Real can also mean truthful or truth. So it is the synonym. The antonym would be false. Good. Now let's talk about organization. Comparison and contrast paragraph, like many others we discussed, can be, they have a topic sentence and a concluding sentence. And here we have a body. Now we're going to talk about the different forms of the bodies. Topic sentences. Well, like others, topic sentences have the controlling idea. We already discussed about it. And it focuses either on similarity differences or both, based on the question or based on our strategy of answering that or articulating ourselves. So we already discussed this. It is from the model, so I'm not going to repeat myself. Here, when students are applying to college, they should consider differences. So we're going to talk about differences. Our topic is applying to college. And we're only going to talk about differences. What other things we're going to consider? In class size, academic standards, and tuition. So we would have a topic sentence, then we would have our body, which discusses the differences, 1, 2, 3 with these points, and then we will have the concluding sentence. It would be the overall organization. So we get all of our organization by the topic sentence only. The Olympics of ancient Greece and the Olympics of today have three key differences. So we have here and here, more today and ancient, and our topic is Olympics, and we're going to discuss key differences. So Organization. We have generally two forms of organizations that we can discuss. Point by point and block method. Bear with me. It is very, very important. So please pay attention to these structures. A point by point method is discussed for both subjects before moving to the next point. Both subjects before moving to the next point. It is easier to compare directly and clear for readers. Notice these. In the block method, it is simpler to write and good for detailed descriptions when we have also long bodies or extensive support. Let's walk through the example. So we're going to have two general points. So we have our point A. We discussed the point error for subject A and then for subject B. Then we move forward to the point 2 and we discuss subject A and subject B. Here we say point by point because we go point by point. And also we have a transition. We discussed about transition signals as well and how we move forward. So let's walk through an example with my clarify. For example, we're going to talk about apples and oranges. The taste is our first point. So subject A, apples are sweet. Subject B, oranges are tangy. Then we're going to talk about color. Apples, subject A, point is red or green. Oranges are the color orange. Then we're going to talk about health. Apples have high fiber. Oranges have high vitamin C. So point by point. The block would be something like this, and it is much easier to articulate. So we have our topic sentence. Then in the block, we would going to only talk about apple. Then we're going to discuss taste. The order is important. Then we're going to go with color and, color, and then we're going to talk about health. Then we move on to oranges. We talk about taste. Then we talk about color. And then we talk about health. And we have our concluding sentence. Hereby, we have two blocks. Good? So, whether you use point-by-point organization or block, we need to have the same point in the same order. What do I mean? No matter you are using point-by-point or the block, you must first talk about taste, then color, then health. It is very important. Well, the concluding sentence is also very easy. We can do three things in a concluding sentence. We can repeat the topic sentence. By what method? By paraphrasing. It's a method, you can look it up. We can restate similarities and differences, which is the same method. We can also, so we can repeat the topic sentence. We can paraphrase the topic sentence. We can restate, well, in a shorter form, the body. Here's another thing that we can do. It is the differences and the similarities. But what? The main points. The main points. It should be shorter. The main points. Not all of the supports, definitions, examples, and fluff. Because we do not want to write the whole paragraph once again. And we also can give an opinion or a recommendation. It is our third option as well. And here you can see the examples. Take a screenshot or pause the video and read it yourself. Analyzing the model. So, both British English and American English are commonly taught in schools around the world. Although these two varieties of English are mutually understandable, there are quite a few differences between them. One difference is the spelling. Some words are spelled on one way in Great Britain, but spelled another way in the United States. A person goes to British theater, look at this, here we have R-E, but to an American theater, ER. British students theorize, analyze, and socialize, whereas American students theorize, analyze, and socialize. The difference is in S and in the Z. And in the Z. A second area of difference is vocabulary. For example, the word college names two different types of schools in Great Britain and United States. Pre-university level in Great Britain and university level in United States. So we call the pre-university in Great Britain college. The university level in United States is named college. In addition, British university students live in halls on campus or in flats off campus, but an American student live in dormitories on campus and in apartments off campus. Finally, just as there are differences in the spelling of vocabulary, there are many differences in pronunciation. In Great Britain, the letter A in the words path, laugh, aunt, plant, and dance is pronounced like A sound in father. In the United States, in contrast, the letter A is in the same word is pronounced like the A sound in cat. It would be pass, laugh, ants, plant, dance. All in all, students of English will notice the differences between the languages used in Britain and in the United States, yet they are still the same language. Transition signals for comparison. So here we have sentence connectors, coordinative conjunctions, which we discussed in previous videos, paired conjunctions, which are very important, subordinative conjunctions, which we also discussed in the complex sentence videos, and other forms. Well, for sentence connectors, also, when we're gonna use also, it appears in the middle or at the end, usually, often. And we do not use semicolon. Also, we do not use semicolon. As you can see here, it can be in the middle, or it can be at the end. We also have to. To usually comes at the end of a sentence. It often appears with a coordinative conjunction and we need to put a comma before to at the end of a sentence. So, it comes. Here we have an and as the coordinative conjunction because it have a comma before it, and it's part of the fanboys. Fanboys are the coordinative conjunctions. You can go and check them. There's a video. So subscribe as well, so you can find the video, the new videos. It would be really helpful. And also, we can use comma or not. It is optional. Paired conjunctions are very, very important. As it suggests, pair conjunctions are always used together. The word after the second conjunction must be the same part of speech. So the part of speech means, is it noun, verb, adverb, or etc. We call this parallelism. It is very important, parallelism. And we're going to talk about paired conjunctions. So, here, we have the vocabulary of British and American English is both colorful and large. These are adjective, so it is parallel, and we have a paired conjunction, a paired conjunction, a paired conjunction. Not only, but also a paired conjunction. Here, a paired conjunction, a paired conjunction, a paired conjunction. So, same part of a speech, parallel. It is not parallel, it is wrong. Why? Because here we have adjective and here we have an adverb phrase. These two are not similar. Not the same part of a speech, so not parallel. So, prefixes and suffixes, both of them are nouns, so parallel. Not only understand, we have a verb, but also use, we have a verb, so it is still parallel. With prefixes, native speakers can create new words that are both logical and functional. Both of them are adjectives, so parallel. In British and American English, words with the suffixes are used both formally and informally. So we have a paired conjunction, then we have adverb. How we recognize adverbs? They have ly at the end. The same suffixes appear in both prepositional phrases. We have a preposition and a noun or a noun phrase, as you can see here. Subordinative conjunctions. It is very, very easy. It is part of the fanboys. I already told you. You can go watch the video. And the meaning does not differ. It is oh my God, it is a dependent clause. Here we have independent clause. Independent clause, okay. And we use a comma before it. Let's talk about others. Others could be something like similar, equal. It can be similar to. It can be equal to. It can also be like these. So, similar and equal, act. Oh wow, sorry. Let me bring this up. These are adjective-like. I hope that I don't push any buttons. Did I? Yeah, so I am so sorry. These are, oh wow, why, please. These are, I don't know why these changes happen. I'm so sorry. So these are adjective-like, as the same as and like are prepositional, and equally are adverbial. Sorry for the problem here. I'm absolutely sorry. So transition signals for contrast. They are similar. We have sentence connectors. On the other hand, and however, can be used as synonyms. Sorry, so these can be used as synonyms. But is when the ideas are exact opposite. Yet is similar to but there's an element of surprise. These are subordinative conjunctions. We already discussed about them. And here are our last examples. So, from and unlike are prepositions. We have noun or noun phrase after them. Differently from is an adverb like. Why? Because it works on the verb. And a difference between American English and British English is biscuits. They're different. And we use the verb for it, it is a verb. We can also use verbs, differ. Thank you so much.